Hey, everybody. Jeffrey Beamer here of EOTrader.com. Welcome to Earnings Call. On this show, each week, we don't just talk earnings, we talk about how to profit from earnings on stocks. And we break our stocks up into breakout stocks that we think are going to move big, and for quiet stocks, stocks that we think are going to consolidate and be quiet. In fact, last week, we gave out a trade on Pinduoduo, that's PDD Group now. And the stock, man, it jumped it dropped. It did jump, but it jumped downwards, dropped significantly. We had what was that, 78% return in just 3 days. We'll talk about that, and we're going to talk about more in just a moment. In fact, this week, we have 180 stocks declaring earnings this week on a holiday shortened trading week. We have Thanksgiving holiday here on Thursday in the U.S. Markets will be closed, and then half-day trading on Friday. So pretty quiet week. So we're front-loaded to the beginning of the week, but we still have 180 stocks declaring earnings, and we're watching 32 of them. So it still is a kind of a busy front-loaded end of the week here. So since we talk a lot of stocks, don't forget that you can use the chapter feature that we include to fast forward to each of the stocks that we talk about. And we'll talk about what their estimated moves and average moves are as we go. So let's get started. Here we go. Okay, let's get right into it. We're going to show our list for the week and jump into what we have. And as I mentioned, we're kind of front loaded here. We do have a few stocks that have declared earnings today, a couple before market open this morning, and then most of them after market close this afternoon. And then tomorrow on Tuesday, the 26th, we are heavy. This is the heaviest day of the week. And we have quite a few stocks that we're going to be talking about. So let's divide these up into our quiet list, which is on the right-hand side, and our breakout list on the left. We're going to start with our quiet stocks. And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. This is stuff that you can see visually on a chart. This is Yum Brands, YUM, and this is the historical movements of earnings around stocks. And so I've put the little ellipse around the earnings dates and the stock moves. And you can see that the stock doesn't really move any more than an average daily move through earnings. We call this a quiet stock. All right. So let's get into the stocks that declare to this week that are quiet. So let's take a look at our quiet list. We have Dell Technologies, which announces today after market close, Woodward after market close, Bath and Body Works. Let's start with that one because, believe it or not, once in a while, these stocks actually do the opposite of what the market thinks. It's not us. We're taking option market makers' pricing into consideration with these calculations. All right. And we have, for Bath and Body Works, we had an average move for this stock less than 10%. But let me show you what an earnings surprise can do. As you can see on your chart, this is a live feed right now. The stock is up almost 17%, even though we were looking for about a 10% move. So, if you were playing for consolidation, selling premium in there, if you did not get your strikes wide enough, all right, that's going to be a problem on a stock that all of a sudden changes its volatility. So normally we're seeing less than a 10% move. If I were to set my break evens around 12% out of the money and thinking I'm okay, well, once in a while you do get into a loss situation. And this is an example of that. This stock is up, as I mentioned, almost 17% right now as we're talking. And that is on an earnings surprise. But the other stocks that that was earnings this morning for Bath and Body Works. But let's get into two of these others here that declared today after market close. We have Woodward, and the stock has kind of gained a bid here the past few days, but we see an average move of just a 5%. So the stock is up 2% right now. It looks like a pretty big move today with this gap, but really, this is $170, $180 stock, and even a 2% move can look deceiving a little bit. We're looking for around a 5% move for Woodward, and that would fall in our quiet list. But you can see, look at this back here. You can see this gap down last time, and we see this start to happening on stocks that start to pick up on their volatility. So this is one thing that we can see from what's called statistical volatility. Okay, statistical volatility is stuff that we can see in the charts. All right, and I'm seeing that volatility is picking up. So I'd be very careful on Woodward, and I probably wouldn't put out a butterfly or iron condor on this. In fact, I might just monitor it going through this earnings cycle, just because volatility has picked up. And I think that 5% number that the market has priced into this on average is not going to hold. I think it's going to start popping up here. Okay. And then we have Analog Devices. They do have earnings now on Tuesday before market open. Okay. This has an average move less than 5%. And you can see here, we've talked about this stock in the past. All right, for Analog Devices, ADI is the symbol here. We had a back in August. You can see the historical move less than 5%, and look at that. The stock just moved up, kind of an average daily move for the stock. Not really anything exciting. So if I pull in more data here, you can see that after this rally, this short little rally here, look what we've done. We've just consolidated around this 225 level. All right. Really between 225 on a low and I guess what is this on the top 235. So it's been chopping around in a little bit of an area, and we're seeing possibly that to continue with less than a 5% move on Analog Devices. Then the other stock that we're looking at this week that declares tomorrow is Hewlett-Packard. HPQ is the symbol. And this is Tuesday after market close. Interestingly enough, you can see the consolidation here that all of a sudden got interrupted on Thursday of last week when the stock popped up, traded a little higher Friday, but then today up another 4%. Now, usually we see a move less than 6% around earnings. This could be very interesting. Did the stock get its move priced out before the earnings event? We see this happening occasionally where the stock will all of a sudden move big prior to earnings and then have that quiet movement through the earnings announcement. But I think that's very interesting that this company, because it is so big, it's really hard to move the stock. But boy, it's up 4% today. The market having a very good day today. We're still in the green all around, although I'm looking up at live quotes, and the Qs in the tech space are only up 11 basis points. So not much going up there. The winner today, just so you know, is IWM, and the small caps are having a big day, up 2.5%. Okay, so HPQ, we're watching for a quiet move, less than 6%. And it's good news here that the stock has shown a little volatility because it might have gotten a move that out of the way that could cause problems. All right, so moving on, then we get to really the exciting part of our list for a lot of people, and that is our breakout service. Now, what we just looked at on these stocks that move less than 10%, we have a service that provides trade alerts for stocks like these, and that is our Delta Neutral Income service. Okay, and you can find out more information by going to ewotrader.com and looking for Delta Neutral Income. All right, but I often talk about subscribing to both our publications, that Delta Neutral Income and Delta Neutral Breakout. That's called Delta Neutral Trader. And let's start taking a look at those breakout stocks, because those are the exciting ones on the list. All right. So if we bring up kind of the list for this particular week, we see a couple of stocks here on Monday, Semtech, which is after market close today. But really, we get into tomorrow. We do have Abercrombie and Fitch, A&F, CrowdStrike and Dell, just to name a few. Let's get into some of these, because I want to add a couple that are not on this sheet that are and aren't. So I'm going to talk about two that are on this sheet and then a couple that aren't. So let's begin with let's start with CrowdStrike. Okay, I'll go back to that previous stock here in just a second. All right, so CrowdStrike. The reason this is interesting is because of some of the problems they had when they had a little bit of an error over the summer. Okay, and so they had some challenges. And look at this, stock came all the way down almost to $200 and now has rallied up to 362. You got to love that volatility, man. So CrowdStrike has an average move of greater than 10%. Market makers are pricing in a move around 11.5% right now. That could inch up to 12% pretty easily. But they do have earnings tomorrow on Tuesday, November 26th, after market close. All right. So that's CrowdStrike. And then Dell was the other one on that list that I wanted to address. And they have earnings also after market close tomorrow. For Dell, we see an average move over 15%. Pretty consistently. I think the average pricing on that is around 15.5%. So a big potential move for Dell, considering it's $144 stock now, once again. All right. If we pull in some more data here, we can see that it had a high of about 180 not too recent, earlier this year, in fact, back in May, and just the volatility of this stock dropping all the way down to $90 and now all the way back up to 144. So if Dell Technologies has any type of good news, it could start to challenge that previous high pretty quick. All right. So we'll keep an eye on that. Okay. If Dell disappoints, well, it could revisit the 120, the 110 level pretty quick. All right. But if tech still is popping and their data server equipment is still moving and they're having good results from that, we can see this stock trading between 165 and 170 tomorrow. Okay. So we'll see. All right. We don't know if it's going to be up or going to be down. Just don't know. Let's go over to one that I also wanted to talk about because this is also a big mover, and that's Nutanix. The symbol is NTNX. Okay, NTNX. And this is a $72 stock that should be moving around. It's got a 17.5% average. So I have my average move label there of greater than 15%. So you could also see that this stock, if you look at the historical movements of the stock, you can see as I move my crosshairs around, the gaps and the gapping that this stock does on a regular basis through these earnings announcements, beautiful moves for our strategy. All right. As the stock tends to gap around and move around, especially here, the past 4 earnings announcements for Nutanix. I find that very interesting. So we will look forward to earnings for them tomorrow, Tuesday, the 26th, after market close. Now, this week is also pretty dominated by retail. All right. As I mentioned, we had Bath and Body Works. They had an earnings surprise this morning. Okay. And that was a quiet stock. But let's look at a couple of these others. Okay. So we have Best Buy, and we see a earnings announcement. Historical average is around 10%. You can see that in the chart here. Look at these gaps that this stock has. All right. And so this is going to be, if they foresee a move through sales through Christmas and the upcoming quarter as positive. Oops, excuse me. Didn't mean to light that up. If we see results like that, you could see this stock pop up well over $100 tomorrow. Okay, on if any potential optimistic results, you could definitely see a move up over 100. And then, of course, on any disappointment or if they have trouble getting inventory prior to maybe even Friday, okay, Black Friday this week, we will hear that information, and this stock could be at $80 tomorrow. All right, I mean it could really drop. So watch out for Best Buy, and then we have Kohl's. Okay, now this is only this stock has dropped below the $20 level, currently trading at 18.5. but it also has the potential for a double-digit move around earnings. If you go back in the past, you can see the gapping action here on a prior earnings announcement, and then some big moves around earnings prior to that. So a stock definitely to watch as we go into the fourth quarter and the biggest sales quarter of the year for all these retailers. Let's close it out here with Burlington Stores. Believe it or not, this is a almost $300 stock. All right, and it has a move greater than 15%, expecting a potential big move. Now, look what happened here. If I zoom in on this a little bit, you can see about 5 days, 5 trading days, which is a week of consolidation here. And then Friday, we gapped higher, popped up, and now we've popped up again, another 2.5% going into earnings. There might be some anticipation there. So a 15% move, and this stock, this stock could be at 270, or it could be above 310 tomorrow. Okay. And we'll just kind of keep an eye on that. Again, Burlington also has their earnings event tomorrow after market close. That's why I was talking about this week being very busy, being here at the front end of the week. Earnings today after market close, tomorrow morning, and then after market close tomorrow. And then if we bring up our sheet once again to kind of summarize this, you'll see on our sheet that we have no breakout stocks on Wednesday. All right. We still have a couple of quiet stocks. And again, these are billion-dollar companies that you see here: Golden Ocean, BMA, Macro, and Frontline. These are actually billion-dollar companies that we just don't hear about very often, but they are also on the quiet side of the ledger. Then Thursday is our Thanksgiving holiday. Markets will be closed. And as I mentioned, Friday, we only have really one big company with options that we might be watching, and that is MNSO, and they have earnings Friday morning. So we'll have any earnings on Friday will be before market open, because we're only open until 1 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. So half day trading on Friday. And so this is a great week for what we call theta decay stocks, meaning stocks for delta neutral income. Woodward, ADI, and HPQ might all be great opportunities as we get a crush in implied volatility and then time decay. Markets closed on Thursday. Guess what? Time decay still occurs. Friday, everyone's focused on the holidays. Time decay. Saturday, Sunday, markets closed. Time decay. And we still keep making money through time decay, called theta decay, through those days. That's why this is a great time of year to be a delta neutral trader. Now, for these stocks, delta neutral breakout, what I want to do is offer you a free guide into how we start trading these breakout stocks. All right. It's a free guide that you can get by going to ewotrader.com/straddle, ewotrader.com/straddle, and get this free guide, and it will show you how we trade these breakout stocks, these companies that have upcoming earnings where we think there will be a big move through earnings. Now, I bring this up because we have a pretty incredible track record with these. All right. In fact, here on the show that we do each and every week, past month, we've been killing it. Okay. Home run trades, several triple digit returns in just 2 to 3 days. I think one of them was in one day. We had a 24-hour trade on one, and it was a triple digit winner. I know Shopify was prior to this. We had a great winner there. So let's take a look at this week's trade on Pinduoduo and see how that did. We had the setup here as we went into the earnings event. PDD is one of those makes those regular appearances with us. Okay, it's a great stock to trade around earnings, and specifically on these breakouts. So we had the trade set up here. We put on this strangle. You can see the flat bottom of the risk graph here. We're looking for the stock to break out either up or down. We don't care which way it goes. And as we take a look at where the stock is trading today, okay, and the results, look at this. Stock is trading down another 1% today, and that would be a profit of $747 at the time of this image being taken. That's a 78% return on capital in just 3 days. Okay, a 78% return on capital in just 3 days. Definitely nothing to sneeze at, because that is big money, and especially if you're very consistent in your process. All right, so I got another trade for you this week. Let's take a look at what this trade is. And yep, you guessed it. We're going to do another potential breakout trade. And as I mentioned, there are so many companies, again, that are declaring earnings on Tuesday. It's hard to get them all in and talk about them all. But this happens to be a Workday. Okay, WDAY is the symbol. All right, and we're going to do a strangle on this one. Now, this particular trade is for accounts that are a little bigger. Okay, I would say $30,000 to $40,000 trading account size and bigger. Why? Well, because the debit on this is going to be about $2,200. Okay, this is a $265 stock. It does have, when you get stocks that expensive, it tends to be a little bit more expensive on the trade. All right, and I'm just checking. So typically, we see a move right around that 15%. I was just checking the latest numbers as I glance over to Workday, and we are still expecting about a 15% move. And again, look at this. Oh, that's this little consolidation here. It did have a little bit of volatility, but the price really didn't change. Right around this 265 level, it traded above 265, it traded below, and now it's traded above again. So it's right in there, building up to this earnings event, and we're looking for a trade that would go out to. Now, here's the thing on Workday, and I'm just double checking our trade here. I believe that Workday, as I pull it up here, has. Okay, these would have weekly options, so we would go out about a week beyond here. That's what we did here on this particular trade. So we'd have about 11 days of time to be right on this trade, which we need to be right away, because look at how the stock consolidates through earnings events here. But this is our trade today. We're looking for that pop. You can see that it popped around that last earnings event, and the little bit of consolidation right before, a few days before, and then boom, gap up. Okay. And we're kind of getting a little bit of that right now, a little bit of volatility, but again, looking for that 15% move on Workday as we head into the holiday season. So that's your trade for the week. That's our show for the week. So again, remember, holiday shortened week, only 3 full trading days this week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Friday's a half day, but we will be back with you Monday, and we'll see the results of this particular trade. And guess what? I'll have another trade for you next week. So be sure to subscribe, like, and subscribe. We'd love to see you each and every week here on Earnings Call. That's it. Everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Spend time with your friends and family, and we'll keep trading week after week right here. Everyone have a great week. Take care.